Hello. Good evening. Welcome back to this quiet little room. Outside, maybe the night wind is starting to blow. Or maybe light rain is tapping softly against your window. Or perhaps, there is only silence. A deep, heavy silence. The kind of silence that sits on your chest like a cat that refuses to move. That kind of silence. The kind that comes after a long day. A day that asked too much of you. A day that took more than it gave. But that day is over now. Whatever happened out there, it is done. You do not need to carry it into this room. You do not need to replay conversations. You do not need to plan for tomorrow. Tomorrow will arrive when it arrives. And when it does, you will handle it. You always do. You have always handled everything that came to you. Every challenge. Every disappointment. Every unexpected turn. And still, you are here. You are still breathing. You are still trying. That is enough. That has always been enough. But right now is not for trying. Right now is not for handling. Right now is not for planning. Not for replaying. Not for worrying. Right now is for sleeping. Tonight, we are going somewhere different. Somewhere far from here. We are staying in America. But a different America than last time. Last time, we visited the shores of Massachusetts. The place where the Mayflower landed. The place where Squanto taught the Pilgrims how to survive. That was the beginning. The first chapter of a very long story. Tonight, we are moving forward in time. About 150 years. The year is 1775. The place is Virginia. The colonies that the Pilgrims started. Those small, struggling settlements have grown into 13 colonies. They are not colonies anymore. Not really. They are homes. Cities. Farms. Communities with churches and schools. Families who have lived on the same land for 5 generations. But they are not free. England still rules them. From across the ocean, a king tells them what to do. What to pay. What to buy. What to sell. Who to obey. And some of them have had enough. Tonight's story is about a man named George Washington. You have heard his name before. You know he was the first president of the United States. You have seen his face on the dollar bill. And on the quarter. But there is something about George Washington that most people do not understand. He could have been king. Before we go any further, let us settle in. Find the position that feels best for your body tonight. Maybe on your back. With your arms at your sides. Palms up. Open. As if you are receiving something. Maybe on your side. With a pillow between your knees. Curled like a sleeping cat. Maybe on your stomach. Face turned to one side. One leg bent. The blanket pulled up to your ears. There is no wrong way to sleep. Your body knows what it needs. It has been carrying you all day. Carrying your weight. Carrying your worries. Carrying the tension you did not even know you were holding. Now, it is time to let your body rest. To let your body be carried for a while. By the bed. By the blanket. By the darkness. By this voice. Now. Take a breath in. A slow breath. Through your nose, if that is comfortable. If your nose is stuffy. Through your mouth is fine too. There is no wrong way to breathe either. Just breathe. Fill your lungs from the bottom up. Like pouring water into a glass. Let your belly rise first. Soft and round. Then your ribs. Expanding sideways like the wings of a bird. Then your chest. Lifting gently toward the ceiling. Now hold it. Just for a moment. 1, 2. And release. Let the air leave through your mouth. Not pushing it out. Not forcing it. Just letting it go. Like a sigh. Like you have been holding something all day, a word you did not say, a tear you did not cry, a tension you did not acknowledge, and now you are finally allowed to put it down. Again. Breathe in. Slowly. Notice how the air feels. Is it cool? Warm? Does it have a smell? Maybe the faint scent of your pillow. Your blanket. Your own skin. The soap from your last shower. The fabric softener on your sheets. These small, ordinary smells. They are the smell of safety. Of home. Of being exactly where you are supposed to be. Hold. And release. Longer this time. Let the sound of your breath be the only thing you hear. Not the traffic outside. Not the hum of the refrigerator. Not the thoughts in your head. Just the breath. Coming in. Going out. Coming in. Going out. Like waves on a shore. Like the tide that never stops. Like the rhythm of the earth itself. One more time. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, let your shoulders drop. The shoulders that have been holding up the weight of the day. Let them fall. Let your jaw unclench. The jaw that has been gritting through difficult conversations, through hard work, through the effort of being patient when you wanted to scream. Let it soften. Let your hands relax. The hands that have been gripping the steering wheel, the phone, the edge of the table, your own anxiety. Let them open. Your legs can sink into the mattress now. Your feet too. As if the bed has reached up and is holding you. As if your bed has become a boat. A boat floating on calm water. And you are lying in that boat, looking up at the stars, going nowhere. Just floating. Not sinking. Not drowning. Not struggling. Just floating. The water holds you. The night holds you. This voice holds you. That is the feeling we want tonight. Floating. Good. Now let this voice be the current that carries you. Not pushing. Not pulling. Just moving gently beneath you, supporting you, holding you up so you do not have to hold yourself. Let's begin. Imagine a small harbor in a small town in England. The town is called Plymouth. The same name that will later be given to the colony in America. Same name. Different worlds. The date is September 6, 1620. The sky is gray, not dark, not light, just gray. The kind of sky that cannot decide whether to rain or clear. The kind of sky that makes you feel small and patient and a little sad. The wind smells of salt and fish and wet rope. Gulls cry overhead, circling the masts of ships, hoping for scraps. The water in the harbor is green-brown, churned by the tide, reflecting the gray sky. And at the dock, tied to a wooden pier with thick ropes, is a ship. The Mayflower. She is not beautiful. Not like the ships in paintings, with billowing white sails and carved figureheads. The Mayflower is a working ship. Her hull is stained dark by years of salt water. Her ropes are frayed in places. Her deck is worn smooth by the feet of sailors who have crossed this ocean before. She is sturdy. She is reliable. She has made this journey before, carrying wine from France, cloth from the Netherlands, fish from Iceland. But she has never carried 102 passengers. She has never carried families. She has never carried hope. On the dock, people are saying goodbye. A young woman in a gray dress holds her mother's hands. Her mother is crying. The young woman is not crying, not yet. She is saving her tears for later, for when she is alone in the dark below deck, when no one can see her. Her mother says, "Write to me. As soon as you arrive. Write to me." But they both know there is no postal service across the ocean. Letters take months. Years. Some never arrive. A father kneels in front of his son. The boy is 7 years old. He does not understand why he is leaving. He understands only that he will never see his grandmother again, and this knowledge sits in his chest like a stone. His father says, "Be brave. Be brave for your mother." The boy nods. He does not feel brave. He feels small and scared and confused. But he nods anyway. A pregnant woman holds her belly. The baby inside her kicks. She does not know that her baby will be born at sea, in the middle of a storm, and that she will name him Oceanus. She only knows that she is leaving the only home she has ever known, and that her husband is holding her hand, and that his hand is warm and steady, and that is enough for now. These are the pilgrims. 102 of them. Some are fleeing religious persecution. Some are just poor, hoping for land, for opportunity, for a life better than the one they have. Some are children who did not choose any of this. Some are babies who do not even know they are on a journey. They board the Mayflower. One by one. Up the narrow gangplank. Down the steep wooden stairs into the between decks, a space so low that adults cannot stand upright. A space that will be their home for the next 2 months. A space that smells of old wood, pitch, and the ghosts of previous voyages. The ship casts off. The ropes are untied. The sails catch the wind. And the Mayflower moves away from the dock. Away from England. Away from everything they have ever known. Toward the open sea. Toward the unknown. Toward America. Let's pause here for a moment. Take a breath. You are not on that ship. You are in your bed. Your bed is not rocking. The only thing moving is your breath, and it is moving slowly, gently, peacefully. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now imagine you are standing on that dock, watching the ship disappear. You are not going with them. You are staying. You are safe. But you can feel what they felt, the fear, the hope, the ache of leaving. Let yourself feel it for just a moment. Then let it go. They carried that feeling so you do not have to. That is what stories are for, to carry the heavy things for a while, so you can rest. Breathe in. Let the story carry the weight. Breathe out. And let's continue. The first 3 days are calm. The sky is clear. The wind is steady from the east. The Mayflower makes good time, not fast, but steady. 2 miles per hour. 3 miles per hour. Slow by modern standards, but in 1620, this is as fast as anyone goes anywhere. On deck, children play. They have never been on a ship before. Everything is new and strange and exciting. They chase each other around the mast. They lean over the railing to watch the wake spread behind the ship like a fan. They point at dolphins, look, look, and scream with joy when the dolphins leap out of the water. Adults sit on barrels and crates, talking quietly. They talk about the future. What will they build? A village. A church. A school. What will they plant? Corn, if the soil is good. Wheat, if it will grow. Vegetables, carrots, cabbages, onions. They talk about their children. Their hopes. Their fears. They do not talk about the people they left behind. That is too painful. At night, they gather below deck. Someone reads from the Bible by candlelight. Someone leads a prayer. They sing hymns, not loudly, because the sailors on deck might hear and mock them, but softly, voices blending in the dark. The ship creaks. The water slaps against the hull. And the hymns float up through the cracks in the deck, mixing with the wind, disappearing into the stars. On the fourth day, everything changes. The wind shifts. It comes from the west now, not the east. And it is not a gentle wind. It is a howling, screaming, angry wind that makes the ropes hum like giant guitar strings. The sky turns black, not night black, but storm black, the color of bruises, the color of anger. Captain Jones shouts from the helm, all hands on deck. Secure the sails. The sailors run. They climb the rigging like monkeys, their bare feet gripping the ropes, their hands working fast to tie down the canvas before the wind tears it to shreds. But the wind is faster. One sail rips, a sound like tearing silk, but louder, much louder, a sound that makes everyone on deck freeze for just a second. Everyone below, the captain shouts. Passengers below deck. Now. The passengers do not need to be told twice. They run, mothers grabbing children, fathers grabbing bags, everyone stumbling and sliding on the wet deck, toward the narrow staircase. It is chaos. A child falls. A father picks her up without stopping. A woman drops her Bible. She does not go back for it. Below deck, it is dark. Dark and crowded and wet. The between decks was not designed for passengers. It was designed for cargo, barrels of wine, bales of cloth, crates of tools. The ceiling is so low that a tall man cannot stand. The floor is rough wood, splintered in places. There are no beds. No chairs. No tables. Only the floor, and each other, and the thin wooden hull between them and the sea. 102 people. In a space the size of a large living room. For 7 days. Let me tell you what 7 days in a storm feels like. Not because I want to frighten you. But because I want you to understand. And then I want you to let it go. The ship does not rock gently, like a cradle. It lurches. It pitches. It rolls. One moment, the floor drops out from under you, your stomach lifts, your hands grab for something to hold, and the next moment, the floor slams up to meet you. And your knees hit the wood, and you taste blood. The waves hit the hull like battering rams. Each wave makes a sound like thunder underground, a deep, booming, shuddering sound that you feel in your bones. The wood groans. The ropes squeal. The masts above deck bend like fishing rods under the weight of a giant fish. Every moment, you expect the ship to break apart. Every moment, you are surprised that it does not. Water comes in. Not a flood, not yet, but water everywhere. Water seeps through the cracks in the hull. Water drips from the deck above. Water splashes through the hatch every time a wave breaks over the ship. The floor is wet. Your clothes are wet. The blankets are wet. There is no dry place to sit, no dry place to sleep. You are wet, and you are cold, and you are going to be wet and cold for 7 days. People get sick. Not just seasick, though there is plenty of that, the vomiting, the retching, the sour smell that never quite goes away. People get sick with real sickness. Fever. Cough. Chills. The ship's doctor, if you can call him that, has a small chest of medicines. Some herbs. Some ointments. Some alcohol for cleaning wounds. But there is no cure for the cold and the wet and the fear. The body can only take so much. The children cry. They cry because they are scared. They cry because they are cold. They cry because they do not understand why the world is shaking, why the floor will not stay still, why their mothers cannot make it stop. Their mothers hold them. The mothers are crying too, but they cry silently, so their children will not see. But in the middle of all this, in the dark, in the cold, in the wet, a baby is born. Elizabeth Hopkins, a young woman with brown hair and a tired face, goes into labor. The ship is lurching. The waves are crashing. The wind is screaming. And Elizabeth is giving birth. There is no doctor. There are no clean sheets. There is no warm water. There are only the other women, 3 or 4 of them, who kneel beside her on the wet floor, holding her hands, wiping her forehead, doing what women have always done for each other. It takes hours. The ship rolls. Elizabeth screams. The women hold her. And then, a new sound. A baby's cry. High and thin and fierce. A boy. He is small, too small, perhaps, for a shipboard berth, but he is alive. His lungs work. His heart beats. He opens his eyes and looks at the dark ceiling of the betweendecks and does not know that he is in the middle of an ocean, in the middle of a storm, in the middle of history. They name him Oceanus. Oceanus Hopkins. Oceanus means ocean. Because he was born at sea. Because the ocean tried to kill him and failed. Because his first breath was salt air and his first bed was a ship in a storm. Oceanus survived. And somehow, miraculously, everyone else survived too. Let's stop here. Take a breath. You are not in that storm. You are in your bed. Your bed is still. Your room is quiet. The only storm tonight is the one in this story, and that storm is over now. It ended 400 years ago. The people on that ship are long gone. Their fear is gone. Their cold is gone. Their hunger is gone. All that remains is the story. And the story is here to help you sleep. So breathe in. Breathe out. Let the storm pass through you and out of you. You are safe. The storm ends on the 7th day. The wind dies down. The waves shrink. The sky clears. The passengers stagger up to the deck, blinking in the sudden sunlight. They are pale. They are thin. They are exhausted. But they are alive. The ship has not sunk. They have not drowned. The storm has passed. They stand on the deck, leaning on each other, and they look at the horizon. Blue sky. Blue water. White clouds. It is almost beautiful. It is certainly a relief. The children run. They have been cooped up below deck for 7 days, and now they run, up and down the deck, around the mast, chasing each other, laughing. Their laughter is the most beautiful sound the adults have ever heard. One of the men, a man named William Bradford, leans against the railing and watches his son play. His son is small and pale and still a little sick, but he is running. He is laughing. He is alive. Bradford prays. Not out loud. In his head. A short prayer. Simple. Thank you. That is all. Thank you. The days pass. 59 more days of sailing. Day after day of blue water and gray sky. Day after day of the same food, hard bread, salted meat, dried fish. Day after day of the same smells, salt, wood, sweat, the faint sourness of sickness that never quite goes away. But there are small joys. A pod of whales surfaces near the ship, enormous creatures, bigger than anything they have ever seen, spouting water from their blowholes, diving beneath the waves with a flip of their tails. The children scream with delight. Even the adults smile. A bird lands on the railing, a small brown bird, exhausted, far from land. One of the sailors catches it gently and shows it to the children. This means land is near, he says. Birds don't fly this far from shore. The children touch its feathers. It is soft. It is alive. It is a sign. But the land does not come. Days pass. Weeks. The bird flies away. The whales disappear. The sky turns gray again. The air turns cold. They are lost. They were supposed to land in Virginia, where the English colony of Jamestown already exists. But the winds pushed them north. Far north. They do not know where they are. The captain does not know where they are. The maps are vague, inaccurate, full of guesses and wishful thinking. Somewhere out there is America. But where? On November 9, 1620, 66 days after leaving England, a sailor at the top of the mast shouts 3 words that will be remembered for 400 years. Land. Land ahead. Everyone rushes to the deck. They look north, south, east, west. And then, there. On the horizon. A thin line. Dark against the pale sky. Land. America. Some of them weep. Some of them laugh. Some of them fall to their knees and pray. Some of them just stand there, staring, unable to believe that after 66 days, after storms and sickness and fear and hunger, after everything, they have arrived. The ship draws closer. The line on the horizon becomes a shore. Sandy beach. Dunes. And beyond the beach, forest. Thick forest. Pine and oak and birch. Forest that stretches as far as the eye can see. No houses. No roads. No smoke from chimneys. Just trees, and sand, and sky. This is not Virginia. This is Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Hundreds of miles north of where they intended to go. They are lost. But they are here. And here will have to be enough. Let's pause here for a moment. Take a breath. The journey is over. They have crossed the ocean. They have survived. You do not have to survive anything tonight. You only have to lie here, under your blanket, and listen. Breathe in. Breathe out. Let the relief of their arrival be your relief. The hard part is over. The crossing is done. Now they rest. Now you rest. But surviving the ocean is only the beginning. The real challenge is yet to come. Winter. The winter of 1620 to 1621 is one of the harshest winters in living memory. The cold arrives early, November, and does not leave until March. The sky is gray every day. The wind never stops. Snow falls and falls and falls, piling up against the sides of the half-built houses, blocking the doorways, burying the path to the shore. The pilgrims are not ready. They do not have warm clothes. They came from England, where winters are cold but not like this. They have wool coats and wool blankets, but wool is not enough when the temperature drops below freezing and the wind blows at 30 miles per hour. They huddle together in their unfinished houses, the walls not yet sealed, the roofs not yet shingled, and they shiver. They do not have enough food. The supplies they brought from England are running low. Hard bread, salted meat, dried peas. That is all. No fresh vegetables. No fruit. No milk. No eggs. The scurvy comes, bleeding gums, loose teeth, wounds that will not heal. The weakness comes, legs that cannot walk, arms that cannot lift, eyes that cannot focus. They do not know how to hunt. In England, hunting was for the rich, for nobles with horses and hounds. These are farmers, tailors, shoemakers. They know how to plant and sow and hammer. They do not know how to track a deer through the snow. They do not know how to set a trap for a rabbit. They do not know which berries are safe to eat and which will make them sick. So they starve. And they freeze. And they die. The first to die is a young man named William Button. He is young, maybe 20, and strong. Or he was strong. But the cold does not care about strength. The cold takes him in his sleep. His friends wake up to find him stiff and pale, his eyes closed, his mouth slightly open. They carry him up the hill behind the settlement and bury him in the frozen ground. No coffin. No headstone. Just a hole, and a body, and a prayer. Then more die. A woman named Dorothy Bradford, the wife of William Bradford, walks out of the ship one night and falls into the cold water. No one sees it happen. They only know that she is gone. Her body is found the next morning, floating in the harbor. They bury her on the hill beside William Button. A child named Jasper Moore dies of pneumonia. His lungs fill with fluid. He coughs and cannot stop. His mother holds him for 3 days and 3 nights, and on the 4th morning, he stops coughing. He stops breathing. His mother does not scream. She does not cry. She just sits there, holding him, until someone gently takes him from her arms. One by one, they die. In December, 6 die. In January, 8 die. In February, 17 die. In March, 13 more. 42 people in total. Nearly half of them. The hill behind the settlement becomes a cemetery. The graves are shallow, the ground is too frozen to dig deep, so the bodies lie close to the surface, covered by a thin layer of dirt and snow. In the spring, when the snow melts, the animals will find them. The pilgrims know this. There is nothing they can do. They named the hill Burial Hill. The name is still there today. Let's stop here. This is the hardest part of the story. The darkest part. The part where it is tempting to close the book and walk away. But do not close the book yet. Because the story is not over. The darkest hour is always just before dawn. The sun always comes back. I promise. Take a breath. Hold it. Release it. Let the sadness pass through you. Do not hold it. Do not keep it. Let it go. The people who died on that hill are not in pain anymore. They are at peace. They have been at peace for 400 years. You are the one who needs peace tonight. So breathe. And let's continue. In March, something changes. The snow begins to melt. The ice in the harbor cracks and breaks apart. The wind shifts, still cold, but not bitter. Not killing. And one morning, a native man walks out of the forest. His name is Samoset. He is tall, with long black hair and dark eyes. He wears moccasins and leggings made of deerskin, a fur cloak over his shoulders. He carries no weapons. He walks straight toward the settlement. The pilgrims see him coming. Some of them grab their muskets. Some of them run inside. But Samoset does not stop. He walks up to the largest house, the house they use for meetings, and stands in front of the door. Then he speaks. In English. Hello, Englishman. The pilgrims stare at him. They cannot believe what they are hearing. How does he know their language? Where did he learn it? Who is he? My name is Samoset, he says. I am from the Abenaki tribe, to the north. I learned English from the fishermen who come to our shores to catch cod. The pilgrims do not know what to say. They have been here for months, and they have seen no one. They thought this land was empty. They were wrong. Samoset stays for a while. He eats with them. He tells them about the land, about the rivers and the forests, about the animals and the fish, about the other tribes who live nearby. He tells them about a man named Squanto. Squanto speaks better English than me, Samoset says. He has been to England. He lived there. He can help you. Help us, asks William Bradford. He can teach you how to plant corn, Samoset says. How to fish. How to hunt. He can teach you how to survive. The pilgrims look at each other. They have been praying for a miracle. And here it is. Standing in front of them. The next day, Samoset returns. And with him is Squanto. Squanto is shorter than Samoset, with a round face and intelligent eyes. He walks with confidence, not arrogance, but the confidence of someone who has seen the world and is not afraid of it. He looks at the pilgrims. They look at him. He speaks. My name is Tisquantum, he says. You English call me Squanto. I am from the Patuxet tribe. This land, he gestures at the ground beneath his feet, this land was my people's land. But my people are gone. A plague came. They died. He pauses. His eyes are not sad. They are calm. He has had years to mourn. He has done his mourning. Now he is here. I can help you, he says. If you let me. William Bradford steps forward. He is thin now, thinner than he was when he arrived. His clothes hang loose on his body. His face is gaunt. But his eyes are bright. We would be grateful, he says. We have nothing to give you in return. Squanto almost smiles. You do not need to give me anything, he says. I am not here for payment. I am here because helping is what I do. Let's pause here. Take a breath. Think about Squanto for a moment. He was kidnapped from his home. Taken across the ocean. Sold as a slave. Lived in a foreign land where he did not speak the language, did not know the customs, did not have a single friend. When he finally returned home, his entire family was dead. His tribe was gone. The village where he played as a child was empty. The voices he remembered, his mother's voice, his father's voice, the voices of his brothers and sisters, all silent. And then strangers came. Strangers who looked like the people who had kidnapped him. Strangers who spoke the language of his captors. Strangers who built their houses on the graves of his people. He had every reason to hate them. Every reason to walk away. Every reason to let them freeze and starve. But he did not. He chose kindness. He chose to be a bridge instead of a wall. Breathe in. Hold that thought. Breathe out. And so Squanto teaches them. He walks with them through the forest, showing them which plants are medicine and which are poison. Which berries are sweet and which will make you sick. Which roots can be eaten raw and which must be cooked. He shows them how to plant corn. Not the way the English plant wheat, in straight rows, each seed alone, each plant separate. No. The Indian way. The three sisters. Corn, beans, and squash. First, the corn. Planted in small hills, 3 or 4 seeds to a hill. The corn grows tall, strong, straight. It becomes the pole. Then, the beans. Planted around the corn stalks. The beans climb the corn, using it for support. The beans put nitrogen into the soil, nitrogen that the corn needs to grow. Then, the squash. Planted between the hills of corn. The squash spreads across the ground, its broad leaves shading the soil, keeping it moist, preventing weeds from growing. 3 plants. 1 hill. Working together. Stronger together than they could ever be alone. The pilgrims watch, and they learn, and they plant. And the corn grows. Taller than any corn they have ever seen. Greener. Stronger. The beans climb the corn stalks, their purple flowers opening to the sun. The squash spreads across the ground, its yellow blossoms shining like stars. It is a miracle. But it is not a miracle. It is knowledge. It is the knowledge of people who have lived on this land for thousands of years. The pilgrims did not bring this knowledge with them from England. They could not. England does not have corn. England does not have beans. England does not have squash. The knowledge was already here, waiting for them. Squanto also teaches them how to fish. He takes them to the stream at the edge of the forest, where the water runs clear and cold. Watch, he says. He wades into the water, the cold water, cold enough to make your feet ache, and stand still. His hands are in the water. He is not holding a net. He is not holding a spear. He is just standing there, waiting. A fish swims past. Squanto's hand moves, faster than the eye can follow, and the fish is in his hand. He holds it up. It is a herring. Silver in the sunlight. How did you do that? Asks one of the pilgrims. Squanto shrugs. I have been fishing since I was younger than your children. You will learn. It takes practice. He shows them how to build a weir, a fence of sticks across the stream, with an opening in the middle. The fish swim through the opening and cannot find their way out. In the morning, the weir is full of fish. Enough to feed the whole settlement for a week. And he teaches them how to hunt. He shows them how to track a deer, how to read the signs on the ground, the bent grass, the broken twigs, the droppings. He shows them how to move quietly through the forest, 1 step, pause, listen. Another step, pause, listen. The forest is not silent. It is full of sounds, birds, insects, wind in the leaves. You must learn which sounds belong and which do not. A sound that does not belong might be a deer. or a bear, or an enemy. The pilgrims learn slowly. Some of them are clumsy. Some of them are afraid. But Squanto is patient. He does not laugh when they fail. He does not get frustrated when they do not understand. He just shows them again. And again. And again. Because he knows. He knows that their survival depends on this. And he knows that his survival, his purpose, depends on them. Let's pause here. Take a breath. Think about patience. Squanto had patience. He did not give up on the pilgrims when they made mistakes. He did not walk away when they were slow to learn. He stayed. He taught. He waited. You have been patient too. You have waited for things. For healing. For answers. For someone to understand you. For the storm to pass. You are still waiting. But you are still here. That is patience. That is strength. Breathe in. Recognize your own patience. Breathe out. Let the story continue. Summer comes. The days grow long and warm. The sun rises early and sets late, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink that seem to last for hours. The corn reaches higher than a man's head, tall, green, rustling in the wind like 1,000 whispering voices. The beans are thick with pods. You can see them swelling day by day, small green fingers reaching out from between the leaves. The squash are heavy and round, turning from green to orange in the sun, their skins growing hard and their flesh growing sweet. The pilgrims look at their fields and cannot believe what they see. They have never grown food like this. Not in England. Not anywhere. They walk among the corn stalks, running their hands along the leaves, feeling the texture, rough, slightly fuzzy, alive. They kneel beside the squash and lift the heavy fruits, marveling at their weight. They pull beans from the vines and eat them raw, tasting sweetness they did not expect. They have enough to eat. For the first time since they arrived, they have enough. More than enough. They have enough to store for winter. Enough to share. Enough to celebrate. William Bradford stands at the edge of the field, looking out at the harvest. His wife is dead. Buried on the hill. He still visits her grave sometimes, when the work is done and the sun is low and the others are asleep. He sits beside the mound of dirt and talks to her. Tells her about the corn. About the beans and the squash. About Squanto, who came from nowhere and saved them all. He does not know if she can hear him. He talks anyway. But today, standing in the field, he is not thinking about death. He is thinking about life. The corn is golden. The pumpkins are orange. The beans are dry and rattling in their pods. The air is cool and crisp, autumn air, the kind that makes you want to walk a little slower, breathe a little deeper, stay outside a little longer. Bradford turns to the others. Let us give thanks, he says. To God. To this land. To Squanto. The others nod. Some of them smile, the first real smiles in months. Should we invite the Wampanoag? Someone asks. Bradford thinks for a moment. He remembers Massasoit, the chief who let them stay. He remembers the day Squanto first walked out of the forest. He remembers all the help they have received, all the kindness they did not deserve. He nods. Yes. Invite them all. The Wampanoag come. 90 of them. Men, women, and children. They walk out of the forest in a long line, carrying baskets and blankets, carrying food, carrying their own traditions and their own songs. They are led by Massasoit, the chief. Massasoit is a tall man with a calm face and powerful shoulders. He does not smile often, but his eyes are kind. He has seen many winters. He has buried many friends. He has made many difficult decisions, including the decision to let these strange white people stay on his land. He walks up to William Bradford and extends his hand. Bradford takes it. They do not speak. They do not need to. The feast begins. They set up long tables made of planks laid across barrels. The tables are not fancy. The wood is rough, splintered in places, stained by weather and use. But they are sturdy. They will hold the food. And there is so much food. The Wampanoag bring 5 deer, roasted over open fires, the meat tender and smoky, seasoned with herbs gathered from the forest. They bring wild turkeys, their feathers still attached, their skin crispy and golden. They bring fish from the river, bass and herring and perch, cooked on flat stones over hot coals. The pilgrims bring cornbread made from the corn they grew, not sweet like modern cornbread, but hearty and dense, the kind of bread that sticks to your ribs. They bring squash, boiled and mashed with a little animal fat. They bring beans, cooked slowly in a pot over the fire until they are soft and creamy. There are berries too, dried blueberries, cranberries, raspberries, saved from the summer harvest. There are nuts, acorns and walnuts and chestnuts, gathered from the forest floor. And there is more. More than anyone can eat. More than anyone has seen since they left England. They sit down to eat. Not in silence, no, not in silence. The feast is noisy. Children shout and laugh and chase each other between the tables. Adults talk over each other, their voices rising and falling like the waves of the sea. They eat until they are full. Then they eat a little more. A pilgrim man named Edward Winslow, who will later write down everything he sees, who will become the historian of the colony, looks around at the scene and tries to remember every detail. The way the sunlight falls across the tables. The way the children's faces glow with joy. The way the Wampanoag women laugh at something one of the pilgrim women said, even though they do not speak the same language. He will write it all down later. But for now, he just watches. He just eats. He just gives thanks. After the meal, they play. The children run races, pilgrim children and Wampanoag children together. They chase each other through the fields of corn, their small bodies disappearing between the tall stalks, their voices echoing off the trees. The adults play too. Some of the Wampanoag men show off their shooting skills with bows and arrows. They set up targets, bundles of dried grass, and take turns hitting them from 50 paces. The pilgrims watch and clap and shake their heads in disbelief. Then the pilgrims show off their muskets. The guns are loud, much louder than the bows, and they leave clouds of smoke that drift across the field. The Wampanoag children cover their ears and then laugh at themselves for being scared. There is no competition. No one is keeping score. It is just playing, the kind of playing that happens when people stop being afraid of each other and start being curious. Let's pause here. Take a breath. Imagine that feast. The smell of roasted deer and cornbread. The sound of children laughing. The feel of the autumn sun on your face, not too hot, not too cold, just right. You are there. Not as a pilgrim. Not as a Wampanoag. Just as a guest. Someone who showed up and was welcomed. Someone who was given food and drink and a place at the table. That is what Thanksgiving is supposed to be. A welcome. A gift. A moment of peace between people who are different. Breathe in. Hold that feeling. Breathe out. Let the story continue. The feast lasts 3 days. 3 days of eating and playing and talking and resting. On the first day, they eat the deer and the turkey and the fish. On the second day, they eat the leftovers, plus more cornbread and more squash and more beans. On the third day, they eat whatever is left, a little of this, a little of that, and they are still full, still happy, still grateful. On the third day, something changes. Not the food. Not the weather. Something else. The children are playing a game, some kind of chasing game that does not need rules, and a pilgrim boy trips and falls. He scrapes his knee on a rock. He starts to cry. A Wampanoag girl runs over to him. She does not speak English. He does not speak her language. But she kneels beside him and looks at his knee and then looks at his face, and then she does something unexpected. She picks a leaf from a nearby plant, a plant with broad green leaves and a spicy smell, and she presses it against his wound. The boy stops crying. He looks at the leaf. He looks at the girl. He does not understand what just happened, but he knows that she helped him. He knows that she was kind. He smiles. She smiles back. No words. Just smiles. And somehow, that is enough. On the third day, Massasoit stands up to leave. His people gather their things, the leftover food, the blankets they had brought, the children who had fallen asleep in the sun. They move slowly, not wanting the feast to end, but knowing that it must. Massasoit walks over to William Bradford. He looks at the Englishman, thin, tired, still grieving his wife, and he sees something he recognizes. A survivor. Someone who has lost and kept going anyway. The peace between us will last as long as the sun rises and the river flows, Massasoit says. Bradford nods. We will remember this, he says. We will tell our children. And their children. And their children's children. Massasoit does not answer. He simply turns and walks back toward the forest. His people follow. One by one, they disappear between the trees. Their voices fade. Their footsteps soften. And then they are gone. The pilgrims watch them go. They stand in silence for a long time. Squanto stays. He always stays. He stands beside Bradford, looking at the forest where his people used to live. His face is unreadable, not sad, not happy, just present. Bradford turns to him. Thank you, he says. You do not need to thank me, Squanto says. I did what anyone would do. But not everyone would, Bradford says. Squanto is quiet for a moment. No, he says finally. Not everyone would. But I did. And that is enough. He walks back to the village. Back to the houses they built together. Back to the cornfields and the fish weirs and the children who call his name when they see him coming. He does not look back at the forest. He has already done his mourning. He has already made his peace. Now he lives. Let's pause here. Take a breath. Think about Squanto. He lost everything. His family. His tribe. His home. His language. No, not his language. He still spoke his language, but he had to learn another one just to survive. He was taken from everything he knew and thrown into a world that did not want him. And yet, he did not become bitter. He did not become cruel. He became kind. That is not weakness. That is the strongest thing a person can do. To suffer and still be gentle. To lose and still give. To be betrayed and still trust. That is Squanto. That is the lesson he left behind. Now, close your eyes for a moment. If they are not already closed, close them now. Think about someone in your life who has been kind to you when they did not have to be. A teacher who stayed after class to help you understand. A friend who listened when you needed to talk. A stranger who held the door or smiled at you on a day when you needed a smile. That person was your Squanto. They helped you when they did not have to. They gave you something you could not repay. And now, think about someone you have helped. Someone you were kind to when you did not have to be. A small kindness. A word of encouragement. A moment of patience when patience was hard. You were their Squanto. That is how kindness spreads. From person to person. From generation to generation. From Squanto to the pilgrims to you. The feast is over. But the kindness continues. Let's continue the story. Not much longer now. After the feast, the pilgrims prepare for winter. They store the corn in underground pits lined with dry grass. They hang the squash from the rafters of their houses, where the cold air will keep them fresh. They dry the beans in the sun, then pack them into clay pots sealed with animal fat. They have enough. Not just enough to survive, enough to thrive. For the first time since they arrived, they are not afraid of winter. They are not afraid of hunger. They are not afraid of the cold. They have Squanto to thank for that. But Squanto does not want thanks. He wants them to learn. To remember. To pass on what he taught them. So they learn. They remember. They pass it on. Winter comes again. But this winter is different. The snow falls, but the houses are tight and warm. The wind blows, but the fires burn bright. The days are short, but the storehouses are full. The pilgrims sit by their fires and tell stories. They tell stories about the voyage, about the storm and the baby born at sea, about the waves that tried to swallow them and the wind that tried to push them back. They tell stories about the first winter, about the cold and the hunger and the friends they buried on the hill. They do not tell these stories to be sad. They tell them to remember. To honor. To remind themselves how far they have come. And they tell stories about Squanto. About the day he walked out of the forest. About the fish and the corn and the three sisters. About the feast and the deer and the children playing together. They tell these stories to their children. And their children will tell them to their children. And so on. For 400 years. Let's pause one more time. Take a breath. You are almost asleep now. I can feel it in the way you are breathing, slower, deeper, softer. The way your body is sinking into the mattress, the way your eyelids are heavy, the way your thoughts are drifting. That is good. That is what we want. Let the story carry you. Let the kindness of Squanto wrap around you like a blanket. Let the memory of the feast fill you with warmth. You are safe. You are loved. You are not alone. The years pass. Squanto grows older. He helps the pilgrims for as long as he can. He teaches them. He guides them. He watches them grow from desperate strangers into a community that can stand on its own. He does not live to see the colony thrive. He dies in 1622, just 2 years after the Mayflower arrived. He dies of a fever, the same kind of fever that killed his tribe, the same kind of sickness that came from the strangers he chose to help. It is not fair. It is not fair that he survived so much only to die so soon. It is not fair that he gave so much and received so little in return. But Squanto did not help the pilgrims because he expected fairness. He helped them because helping was who he was. Kindness was not a transaction. It was his nature. He died among the people he saved. They buried him on a hill, not Burial Hill, but another hill, somewhere on the edge of the settlement. They did not mark his grave with a stone. They did not carve his name into a monument. But they remembered him. And they told his story. And now, 400 years later, you are hearing it. That is his monument. This story. You. Listening. Now. We are almost at the end of tonight's story. But before we truly dock at the shore of sleep, I want to ask you something. Not a heavy question. Not a question that needs an answer. Just a small question you can carry into your dreams. Who in your life has been your Squanto? Who came when you had nothing and helped without expecting anything in return? Who showed you how to plant corn, in whatever form that took? Who taught you to fish when you were hungry, to hunt when you were lost, to survive when you were sure you would not? Maybe it was a parent. A teacher. A friend you have not spoken to in years but still think about sometimes, late at night, when you cannot sleep. Maybe it was a stranger. Someone you met once, for 5 minutes, and never saw again. But those 5 minutes changed everything. Maybe it was someone who did not even know they were helping you. Someone who was just living their life, being kind in small ways, and you were watching, and you learned. That person is your Squanto. And the second question, for whom can you be Squanto? Who is struggling near you who might only need someone to show them the way? Someone who is cold, hungry, lost, not literally, maybe, but in their heart. Someone who needs a hand, a word, a moment of patience. You do not have to save a colony. You do not have to cross an ocean or survive a storm or bury half your neighbors on a frozen hill. You just have to be kind. Small kindness. The kind of kindness that costs you nothing but means everything to someone else. That is what Squanto did. Not grand gestures. Not heroic battles. Just showing up. Just teaching. Just staying. You can do that. You already have. And you will do it again. Let's sit with that for a moment. Close your eyes if they are not already closed. Think about the people who have helped you. Let their faces appear in your mind, one by one. Do not rush. Let them come when they are ready. Maybe a teacher who believed in you when you did not believe in yourself. Maybe a friend who listened without judging. Maybe a stranger who smiled at you on a day when you needed a smile. See their faces. Feel the gratitude in your chest, that warm feeling, like drinking hot tea on a cold day. Hold that feeling. Now think about the people you have helped. The ones you have been kind to. The ones who might remember you the way you remember your Squanto. You did not do it for recognition. You did it because it was the right thing to do. That is what kindness is, doing the right thing when no one is watching. You have been kind. You will be kind again. That is who you are. Breathe in. Hold that warmth. Breathe out. The story of the Mayflower and Squanto is over now. But the story of kindness, the story of choosing to be a bridge instead of a wall, that story never ends. It continues in you. Every time you choose to help, even when you are tired. Every time you choose to forgive, even when you have been hurt. Every time you choose to be patient, even when patience is hard. Every time you smile at a stranger. Every time you hold the door. Every time you say, thank you, or I'm sorry, or I see you. That is Squanto's legacy. Not a monument. Not a statue. Not a day on the calendar. A way of being. And you are part of it. You always have been. Let's bring the story all the way home now. Let's leave the pilgrims on their shore, safe and warm and full of thanks. Let's leave Squanto on his hill, at peace, his work done, his kindness echoing through the centuries. Let's leave the cornfields and the forests and the rivers where the fish still swim. And let's come back to this room. This quiet little room. Where you are lying in your bed, under your blanket, with your head on your pillow. Where the only sound is your breath, and my voice, and the soft silence between words. Take a final breath. In. Slowly. Feel the air fill your lungs, cool, clean, alive. Hold it for just a moment. 1, 2. And release. Let the air leave your body like a wave leaving the shore. Not pushed. Not forced. Just released. Feel your shoulders drop even more. They can always drop more. There is always more tension to release. Let it go. Feel your jaw soften. Your tongue resting at the bottom of your mouth. Your lips slightly parted. No need to hold anything closed. Feel your hands. So soft now. So heavy. So peaceful. They have held so much today: phones, steering wheels, coffee cups, worries. Now they hold nothing. Now they are free. Feel your legs sinking deeper into the mattress. Your feet pointed outward, relaxed, no longer carrying your weight. The bed is carrying you. Let it. You are safe. Say that to yourself. Not out loud, just in your mind. I am safe. You are loved. I am loved. You are not alone. I am not alone. These are not just words. They are true. They have always been true. You just forget sometimes. We all forget. That is why we need stories, to remind us. Tonight, this story reminded you. You are not alone. Squanto was alone when he came back to his empty village. But he found people to help. And in helping, he found connection. He found purpose. He found a reason to keep living. You are not alone either. Even if it feels that way sometimes. Even at 3 a.m. when the world is dark and quiet and your thoughts are loud. You are not alone. There are people who love you. People who would help you if you asked. People who are grateful for you, even if they have not said it. And there is you, the person who helps, who gives, who stays. You are your own Squanto. Do not forget that. If you wake up in the middle of the night, that is fine. Do not fight it. Do not stare at the ceiling and worry about how many hours of sleep you have left. Just turn over. Fluff your pillow. Close your eyes again. Sleep will come back. It always does. If you dream of ships and storms and cornfields, that is fine too. Let the dreams come. They are just stories your mind is telling itself. They cannot hurt you. If you do not remember anything tomorrow morning, not the story, not the questions, not the affirmations, that is more than fine. Your body remembers. Your nervous system remembers. The calm you feel tonight will still be with you tomorrow, even if you do not know why. That is how sleep stories work. They do their work in the background, like roots growing underground, like corn sprouting in the dark. You do not need to remember. You just need to rest. Now. One more time. Close your eyes. If they are already closed, close them tighter for just a second, then let them relax. Feel the darkness behind your eyelids. Not empty darkness, warm darkness. Soft darkness. The kind of darkness that holds you, like water holds a floating body. Listen. Just listen. To the silence. To your breath. To the distant sound of your own heartbeat. Ba-dum, 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 slower now, softer now, like a lullaby, like a drum calling you home. The Mayflower is at anchor. The storm is over. The winter has passed. The corn is harvested. The feast is finished. The guests have gone home. Squanto is at peace. And you are here. In your bed. In your room. In this moment. With nothing to do and nowhere to go and no one to be except exactly who you are. Which is enough. More than enough. You are enough. Good night. Sleep well. Let the sleep come not as something you do, but as something that happens to you, like the tide coming in, like the peach floating down the river, like the ship finally reaching the shore. No effort. No struggle. Just rest. You have earned it. You have earned it 1,000 times over. Rest now. We will meet again. In another story. From another land. Another night. Maybe we will go to Japan again, to visit Momotaro and his parents and the dog and the monkey and the bird. Maybe we will stay in America, to learn about Sojourner Truth or Harriet Tubman or the man who walked on the moon. Maybe we will go somewhere else entirely, to Africa, to India, to the islands of the Pacific, where other stories wait. There are so many stories. So many nights. So many chances to rest, to listen, to float. But that is for another time. For now, there is only this. This room. This bed. This breath. This sleep. You are safe. You are loved. You are not alone. Good night. Sleep well. And until we meet again, just sleep.